We just finished our 13th practice. It's crazy to think that we're almost through with spring ball, but we had a good practice today. We had a couple live periods, a little down and distance scrimmage, and then a short yardage scrimmage after that, and we saw some good things. You know, the O-line did a nice job on a couple plays. Irvin Phillips ripped one through there for about 40 yards. A couple good plays on the outside. I noticed Zaire Franklin making a lot of plays on defense. Rodney Williams made a great stop on a 3rd down and 3 play, coming off the hash and making a tackle just under 3 yards. So we had some good competition today, and it was a real good practice. And then as we work into this weekend, we'll have another practice here Thursday, and then we'll wrap it up with our spring scrimmage. The spring scrimmage will be just that. It won't be an all-out spring game. I want to do a good job taking care of the numbers that we have. It'll be a situational scrimmage where we move the ball around and start off with some pass skelly and then mix in some team periods and some live scrimmage periods in there, and then a little bit of kicking game as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Can't wait to get you know, some of the students and some of the people from Syracuse out to the game and you know, kick it off and finish up spring ball. So with that, any questions?
What's the format going to be Saturday?
Just what I said. It'll be scrimmage situations. It'll be I'll place the ball, different situations. Maybe we'll get a little red zone here, coming out period. Just kind of move the ball around, count the reps up, make sure we're being smart with the players and the numbers that we have, and mix in a little bit of kicking game, probably just our field goals. Move the ball around and let those guys try to hit some field goals, and then a little bit of punt without a full rush, basically. But just practicing and playing some football.
Will it be scored like offense?
No, we're not going to come up with some imaginative scoring system because I was pummeled on that last time because no one understood how the scoring system works. So the best way to alleviate that is not to have a scoring system, turn the clock off, and just practice some football in front of the fans.
What are you hoping to get out of this weekend? And I know it's not a game-like atmosphere, but what can
just another practice, to be quite honest with you. I don't put a lot of stock into the spring game, never have. We've really finished our work today, to be quite honest with you. We don't want to go into the spring game and show all the different things that we've been putting in on offense and on defense, so we want to keep it pretty vanilla and just let the kids go block and run and tackle and catch passes and finish up spring on a high note. But really, I don't put a ton into the spring game other than you know, getting another 60 or 70 reps of football in.
Rob and Brisley have had their respective injuries during the spring. Do you expect to see either of them, and is there anyone else who might not be going?
Brisley's been back for quite a while. He's doing a nice job, made some nice plays in practice the other day. He has class today, so he wasn't in practice. And then Rob was at practice as well today and did some things, but we'll hold him back.
What kind of strides as a unit have you seen the O-line make since the start of spring practice?
Well, they're making strides. As I mentioned before, the first 4 or 5 practices is really installation and learning the new verbiage of the offense, getting a feel for the new cadence system, and really, you know, you go from elementary learning to, you know, stepping with the right foot and communicating the different calls against all the Coach Bullis blitzes, to a little bit higher learning when you get about halfway through spring. And now that we're finishing up with spring ball, now it's starting to come together and you start to feel a rhythm and you start to see those 5 guys play together as a unit, make calls, you know, do a better job with picking up blitzes and passing off stunts and exchanges in the gaps. So there's been good improvement. We got a long way to go to get to where we want to be, but they've made good progress.
Mm-hmm. And has that process maybe been slower than in years past because of all the moving parts and guys you have to replace on the line?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's just it's the same. You know, even though you may have a system in place, you know, for a few years like we have on defense, each year you have so many different faces in there that the people affect the parts and pieces of the offense or defense, and that's what you see. So I wouldn't say we're, you know, anything more than first spring installation slowing us down, but for the most part I feel good about where we're at.
Are there any things in particular you'll really be looking for, positional battles or players that you keep an eye on?
We've already kind of finished that up with today's practice. We kind of know where we are as a staff, and we put that roster together, and we don't make any final decisions until we get to Rhode Island week, to be quite honest with you. You know, there may be some freshmen that get to push and compete when they come in here. We'll find that out. But most of the guys that will be in place on both sides of the ball, as far as a competition point of view is concerned, we have those battles where we think they are. We've had guys moving up and down the depth chart. And like I've mentioned before, the depth chart doesn't mean a lot this far out, in my opinion. It's just a matter of creating that competitive spirit in practice. And one guy has a good practice on Tuesday, and he goes to the first team on Thursday, and the other guy backs him up, and you see how they compete and how they react to being either 1 or 2 on the depth chart. And that's the way we've always played it out.
What was your reaction to Luke getting 2 more years, and did you get any kind of explanation from the NCAA?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, they just, you know, we were waiting. We knew he'd probably have 1, but there was a good chance he could have 2. They granted 2 years. And now, you know, with Luke Arciniega, the big key is just keeping him healthy throughout the course. He's had some injuries along the way, so we'll have to be smart how we manage it and see if we can get 2 out of him. But he's done a nice job playing defensive end this spring. Been real pleased with him. He's a little under the weather right now, but you know, he'll be back in action here Thursday in practice, and it's always good to get good news from the NCAA.
Was the idea that they're kind of starting his career while he was at JUCO, or they gave you back last year? And
I'd have to sit down and have a one-on-one for a half hour to try to explain it to you, so I won't do that to everybody else in the group.
Scott, as far as some of the guys that have made the biggest jump from the beginning of spring to where you stand now, who are some of those that stick out to you?
Well, a lot of the same guys that we talked about before. Alvin Cornelius has had a real good spring. Caden Samuels had a very good spring for a young guy playing inside. You know, on the defensive side of the ball, Paris Bennett's playing well as the walk linebacker, the outside linebacker that's to the field most of the time. Been pleased with him. Zaire Franklin's done well. Been pleased with Rodney Williams again. I'm excited about watching Cordell Hudson at corner. He's doing some good things, as is Dowles. He's made some plays, made a couple real nice plays today in both one-on-ones and in scrimmage. And Skelly mentioned Rodney Williams. So, you know, a lot of the same faces, but as we get closer to the season, we'll find out more about, you know, where they really are as we continue to get more scrimmages throughout the course of the summer, as we see how those kids progress with their weight gain and you know, all the things that you're looking for over the next few months as we get into, you know, summer camp. Some of those things will continue to solidify themselves, and then we let them compete and see what some of these freshmen can do as well.
How does Dunkelberger kind of fit in?
He's doing a good job. He's a long ways away. He can run. He's fast. He's caught some balls and taken off with them, which has been good to see. He's really got to upgrade his consistency in the blocking area of his game. He's been inconsistent with his pad level and getting his pads down and playing with you know, a good base. So that's going to be his biggest key to try to develop his blocking consistency.
And looking at that group as a whole, I think Tim Lester mentioned Cam McPherson as someone who's impressed this spring. What's kind of the lay of the land there?
Well, they're just competing. We haven't figured that position out yet. Cam's done a nice job. Josh Paris made a really nice catch today. I've seen some improvements with some of their consistency and blocking, but not nearly to the point where we can feel great about it. So